Thank you very much, panelists. It was really an amazing panel. And now I'd like to share that we have a small video recording from Shri Anurag Jain ji, who's the secretary of DPIIT. DPIIT has been supporting IVCA and the startup investor ecosystem a lot. And since Shri Anurag Jain ji could not attend this in person, he shared a small video recording for us. So I'll just hand it over to the team to put on the video of Shri Anurag Jain ji. Thank you.
Shri Seshachalam, Executive Director and Chief Regulatory Officer, International Financial Services Authority. Shri Raman, Chairman and MD, SIDBI. Shri Karthik Reddy, Chairperson, IVCA. Shri Rajat Tandon, President, IVCA. Senior members of IVCA, Shri Gopal Srinivasan, Srimati Renuka Ramnath, Shri Ashley Menezes, investor community. I am extremely happy to be speaking to you. I congratulate the investor community on the 12th IVCA conference. I would have been happier to be present with you physically. However, since it was not possible for me to be there, I decided to at least talk to you through the virtual medium. I recall last year also I had spoken and shared my thoughts. This 12th IVCA conference assumes much more significance because this is the first conference, IVCA conference in Azadi Ka Amrit Kal, that is the journey of India from India at 75 to India at 100. As all of us know that these 25 years, the vision which has been provided to us by our leadership, Honorable Prime Minister, is to see India as a developed country by 2047. And all of us have to align our efforts into that direction. As a group of officers, when we think together and we talk about where India would be in 2047, broadly, we would be a developed country. A realistic estimate shows that we'll be a $30 trillion plus economy by that time. We would, and in the optimistic scenarios, we could be even the second largest economy. We could be even more than that. But what is more important, that we have to start taking our actions right now to align to that vision. These are the times. Right now India is holding the presidency of G20, and it is very challenging times for the global economy. There are twin challenges of recovery from the pandemic and the geopolitical situation. But one thing is for sure, the whole world acknowledges that India is the bright star among dark clouds which the global economy is facing. India is tipped to continue to be the fastest growing large economy over next few years. But within us, we know if we get our act strong, this situation will continue to remain for the next 2 to 3 decades. Given the basic structure of our society, that we are a democracy, we are a rule of law, we have the demographic dividend going forward for the next 3 decades, we have the talent of youth, and more importantly, the kind of structural and governance reforms which took place. One of the most important thing was the public digital infrastructure and the startup initiative which go hand in hand together. When we think about this vision, I personally feel that the growth will be driven by knowledge, innovation and sustainability. And in all these 3 pillars, the startups provide the right kind of solution. On our part as a government, India has actually mainstreamed sustainability into its development agenda. All of us are aware about the targets which were spelled out by Honorable Prime Minister in COP26, the kind of aggressive targets we have for 2030 and net zero by 2070. I would like to underline only one point, that the NDCs which were committed for 2030, India actually did achieve it 9 years ahead of schedule. That is something which no other country has done. And therefore, India ranks in the top 5 countries for the global climate change index. Insofar as startup ecosystem goes, lot of good work has happened over last 6-7 years. It is all because of the whole ecosystem playing a very good part of it, in which IVCA has got a very important role which they have played. In just a short frame of time of 7 years since the launch of a startup initiative in 2016, India's startup ecosystem has grown to be the 3rd largest startup ecosystem in the world. All of us are aware, so I will not go into details of that. 2021 was a high point of investment into the startups. It was a huge increase. It was unparalleled. But 2022, as people call it, winter of investor funding. So I looked at the data a little more closely. Certain things emerge. Number one, as all of us know, that 2022, the whole world economy was impacted by the Russia-Ukraine war. There was a macroeconomic policy responses by most of the economies, increasing the Fed rates, etc., the energy crisis, the food crisis, the fuel crisis. So these are the issues which actually push the macroeconomic factors adversely. Obviously, if the interest rates go high, the investment climate would change. So we have to appreciate what has happened in India vis-a-vis other countries. Definitely there was a fall in 2022 from 2021, but this fall is less pronounced than what it was in China or US. If we look at the data more closely, we find that in the Q1 of 2022, there was 64% more deals than 2021. Means, had these global headwinds not happened, probably 2022 could have been even better. If you look at the long-term trend, take away 2021 as an outlier, even then 2022 is more than double of 2020 data. That shows that there is resilience in Indian economy, there is resilience in Indian startup growth story. I know there have been some issues, there was some talk about 56(2)(b) in this budget. I got some representation from IVCA. We are seized of what you are saying. But let me put one thing very clearly. It does not affect startup in the least, because there is a clear proviso which clearly brings out that it does not affect the startup. Startups which are recognized by the DPIIT are out of this purview. And for the purpose of 56(2)(b), the startup recognition process is very simple and straightforward. It's auto, anybody who applies gets it. It is not like the process which we follow for 80 IAC IMB recognition, even though we have taken a lot of steps to improve even that. But as far as 56(2)(b) is concerned, anybody who applies gets it automatically. So therefore, that is something which should not bother the startup ecosystem. Yes, there are other issues which we have received. We have forwarded it to the Department of Revenue with our recommendations, and as I understand, they are taking some corrective actions. So as and that when that happens, it will be there for all us to see. As we all know, the lot of openness has come in India's FDI policy in the last few years. As I understand, our FDI policy is one of the most open in the world today. I would like all the investor community sitting here today to deliberate, learn from each other's experience and see where this growth story can go forward automatically and what steps we need to take it much faster. We also need to look at how to mobilize the domestic capital further. There have been lot of good things which have happened. If I recall, the the kind of regulatory changes which happened, now it is possible to invest the pension funds, the insurance funds into the alternative investment funds. I recall there was a meeting which I chaired about a month and a half ago, where there were certain issues which were brought out, and I am extremely grateful to the concerned regulators that those clarifications were issued within a matter of about a week or two. So, therefore, as I understand, the whole government is there to listen to good ideas, how to take the growth forward, ensure that we contribute our best in the India's growth history. I wish the IVCA conference success and very fruitful deliberations, and I look forward to the recommendations of IVCA.